back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
So today we're doing our top 10 movies we think you should see if you have not already seen them.
So what we're going to do is give you a little synopsis about the film, talk about a couple scenes that we think are amazing, just to kind of give you a little bit about what's going on with the movie. Not give you too much because we don't want to spoil anything for you. And we're going to start with a movie as an honorable mention.
So we lied. There's actually 11.
Right.
We couldn't leave this one off the list.
We've talked about it so much on Sledgehammer Horror that a lot of you have probably already seen it, but it's The Dark and the Wicked. This is probably the scariest movie I've seen in a very long time.
It absolutely, it's, you have this, like, the entire time you just have this, like, feeling of just dread.
Yes.
The entire movie.
Yes. Like there's a moment where mom's in the kitchen doing dishes and the chair slowly sneaks up behind her. You know, and there's no attention brought to it, no jump scare, just the anxiety continuing to build.
And there's another one, Michael, the son, he's actually trying to slit his own throat in the barn, and it's just like...
He's also trying to stop himself.
Yeah, it's like something is trying to force him to do this, and it's very, like, anxiety-ridden. And again, not because of a loud, jump scare or anything like that, just because of the feeling it makes you feel like it looks like he is fighting himself.
It's genuinely scary. And then one of my favorite speeches when it comes to the devil of all time.
What does it matter whether you believe?
You think the wolf
Cares if you believe he's a wolf? Not if he finds you alone in the woods.
That speech is so good. And I love it, and I think it's amazing. So if you have not, make sure you check out The Dark and the Wicked. But now let's get into our list at number 10.
And coming in at number 10 is Session 9. A little synopsis: tension rises within an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental hospital with a horrific past that seems to be coming back.
Yeah, this is a movie we watched to do a podcast with Podcast in the Woods.
Yes.
And we fell in love with this movie. The cast in general, a lot of CSI mainstays are in this.
It's
David
awesome.
Caruso.
I love that, yeah. You got Horatio, who is not really his name in it, but I love that it has a CSI cast because we used to watch that, like,
religiously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're an awesome cast. So you do have the guys, they're all talking. It kind of like introduces them. You kind of get like their personalities.
There's a lot of different personalities in this movie.
There is, and some of them clash. But yeah,
some of them are sleeping with other ones. Exes.
Yeah, that's not great.
And one of my favorite things ever is this.
Fuck you.
I can't tell you how many times something will happen. And when Ohio State lost to Michigan, I had to send this to so many people.
He literally made a GIF out of this. Like, that's how...
you.
Yeah, like, literally. And then you have this really scary part where Jeff is running through the hallways and the lights are just shutting off. And you're already in this abandoned building where you're not really sure where you're going, and then just the lights are shutting off.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Brendan Sexton III.
He's an amazing man. Just had to
we had to give him his flowers because he is amazing. We've got to have him on the show. We've got to hang out with him in person. He's just a wonderful, wonderful human being, wonderful actor that we wish the best for. So that's kind of the cherry on top of this movie. So
absolutely.
Make sure you're checking out Session 9. It leaves you with some twists and turns that you don't see coming. So Session 9 is at number 10. Let's get into number 9. So coming in at number 9 is Z. And a couple is terrorized by their 8-year-old son's imaginary friend, but there might be more to the history of Z than they can remember.
Yeah, this was a Shudder original. This is one that we really had no expectations for, and we loved it. It was very terrifying. And this scene, Z in the bathtub, it scared me. I was like, holy shit, like that's kind of like how it...
when you first kind of really see what Z is.
You see what he is, and it's just like... It was a terrifying scene, and I absolutely love this movie.
Another one that I don't want to show too much, but Josh is playing with a friend, something happens, and you have the mom just looking at him in horror.
Yes.
As to, why did this just happen?
I raised this child, like, what is going on? Like, this is not my kid. And then you get another glimpse of Z when the therapist is coming to see Josh when he's leaving, and he's just, you get this glimpse of him behind the therapist.
And the mom freaks out because Z wants to marry the mom, essentially. Like, he wants to be daddy. at some point, you know. So he's still there, still watching out over everything.
Yeah.
And another time, the very first time we see Z is in a drawing on Josh's wall. So, you know, Mom walks in and sees that Josh had drawn Z on the wall. So there's a lot of different scary scenes in this movie. There's a lot of twists and turns to find out the origins of Z. And the ending is very, very tricky. You can make the ending many, many different ways if you want to. So number 9 was Z. Let's get into number 8 now.
And coming in at number 8, I feel like this movie is very underrated. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and that is Tourist Trap. It's a group of friends stranded at a secluded roadside museum as they are stalked by a mass assailant who uses his telekinetic powers to control the attraction's mannequins.
So many different things we could talk about this movie.
Yes.
This is one you should go in blind, though. I will say it has one of the coolest kills ever.
It's very it's just unique. It's a very unique kill for sure.
And you know, when you see the blood coming out of the pipe, and there's just so many working gears to make this kill work. It's so worth it when you watch it.
Yeah, and Mr. Slauson, he is a very much so underrated. I don't want to say too much because I feel like that's giving stuff away. So I'm not going to say what he is, but he is very underrated, and he is awesome in this movie. He's kind of scary. Like, he's a scary guy, to be honest.
And Barbara Crampton is working on a requel to this, so hopefully it'll be getting some love in the near future.
As long as she is a part of it, like I'm there for it. Yes. Like I'm excited for it because this is something that you can't just remake. Like it would take a lot of
I think that being an indie queen, she's going to keep it at its independent roots.
Yeah, for sure.
So
if it's in good hands, and it is with her.
Yes.
So, yes.
She was talking about it at Horror Hound. They made a big announcement about it, and we're excited to see the progress of it. So yeah, number 8 is Tourist Trap. Let's get into number 7. Coming in at number 7 is the first movie that we can remember watching by one of our favorite directors, Mike Flanagan.
Yes.
And that's Before I Wake.
I feel like this is where we kind of like fell in love with him. Like, we were excited to see his other work, and we're like, this guy is amazing.
Yeah. I think we should say, I think this is the first original piece of work that we've seen him do. But a little synopsis, Jesse and Mark decide to take in a sweet and loving 8-year-old boy, Cody. Unbeknownst to them, Cody is terrified of falling asleep because his dreams and nightmares manifest physically as he sleeps. And boy, do they.
Yeah, they really do. So he can manifest like happy thoughts as well, and that's when he has these dream butterflies. Like, it's almost like maybe he feels safe with his family now, and he has these dream butterflies that are like,
and you can see the mom and dad looking around.
Like they don't know where they're coming from, and they're, just like,
because they're dreams to Cody, but they're real life to everybody else. And
that comes into play with some other things that...
well, we get the villain, who is the Canker Man.
The Canker Man.
The Canker Man is terrifying looking.
He's very, very creepy. He, she, I don't know. It's very creepy looking. And when you kind of get, like, what actually the Canker Man is, it's very, very emotional.
Yes. But in the meantime, holy shit.
He's a scary dude.
Scary dude.
It's a scary monster. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but it's a scary monster.
Right.
And then you have Cody. This is one that makes you want to poop your pants because it's scary. You have him looking under the bed for the monster because monsters hide under the bed, right? And then he gets up on top of the bed, and the monster's there on his bed with him. I
also feel like this was a direct homage to Poltergeist in the clown scene.
Yes, absolutely.
The way it plays out.
Because that's a very scary scene, too. That's the clown scene scares the shit out of me, and this one also. I agree with that.
And it works really well. And just the cast in this movie in general, and a lot of the scary scenes that they do throughout the whole movie, it's just amazing. From start to finish, this movie is scary. It's very emotional.
It's very emotional.
It's everything we've come to love from Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that this is a Mike Flanagan movie when you watch it, because
in the best way possible.
You have all these, like you said, you have the emotion, you have the fear, you have all this wrapped up in a nice little bow, and it's nice little present with a bow on top. Yeah.
So make sure you are checking out Before I Wake. That is number 7. But now let's get into number 6.
coming in at number 6 is The Moor. Claire is approached by the father of her murdered childhood friend to help investigate the haunted moor. He believes his son is in his final resting place.
This movie came out of nowhere to us, and we fell in love with this movie. This is one that, again, the ending you can take any way possible.
Yeah.
I think that we would like to revisit this movie and redo our review / ending explained on it, because I think that the screener we got didn't have the complete ending to it. But man, is this movie good. Like, even just scenes of, like, Claire looking into the moor, you know, looking around, trying to see.
It's almost, like, overwhelming to watch, because when you think about, like, a child being missing, or you searching for something, or getting lost in something, and you have this moor that goes on for miles, and just thinking about getting lost in that or trying to find something in that, like, it really is like an overwhelming feeling that you get from just her looking around.
Right. And then in the beginning of the movie, they have a crazy montage of all the kids that are missing,
which I feel like makes it like feel more real when they have like the people talking, and you have the newspaper clippings and stuff like that.
Yep. And we find out how many children went missing throughout all of this. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is the tent scene.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. Completely comes out of left field, scares the shit out of you. So that's one that really, really got me hard, was the tent scene.
And then, like I was talking about before, you have this entire moor, and having the fog and getting lost in the fog. It's very, that's very scary.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah, it does make you claustrophobic, and it's just like, what do you do now? Like, if you don't have the sense of direction, which I don't, like, I'd be screwed. Even with like a
compass.
Yeah, a compass. I would be screwed. I'd be like, let's go this way,
Right.
and I would be going farther into the moor.
Just keep walking.
Yeah, no.
She's the Dory. Yeah, she just keeps swimming. Keep swimming.
And I would get everybody lost, or myself lost.
So I think that this is the second newest addition to this list.
Yeah.
So a movie that we both very much loved, coming in at number 6. But now let's get into the newest addition to our list at number 5.
And coming in at number 5 is Mr. Crockett. And like Ken said, this is the newest addition to our list.
My favorite movie of 2024.
Absolutely his favorite. So a mother embarks on a perilous quest to rescue her son from a demonic children's show host who is kidnapping kids.
There is so much I could say about this movie. Just the opening, when you have Mr. Crockett coming out of the VCR. You know, is Mr. Crockett a bad guy, or is he trying to help out children that are in a bad situation?
And I mean, there's a fine line there, but I think he's a bad guy. So he feeds the dad. The dad is
Trying to force feed the kid.
Yeah, and he is almost like abusive about it.
I wouldn't say
was he
almost.
even like the real dad, or is he his stepdad? Yeah, he's his stepdad, and like mom is really not sticking up for him, and so I guess Mr. Crockett has to. Right. So
he feeds him in. Oh gosh, I love this scene.
Yeah,
so
that
much.
scene is disgusting, but it's like one of those scenes where you cannot look away.
And you're rooting for Mr. Crockett.
You are at that point. You're definitely rooting for Mr. Crockett because Dad's a shithead. Stepdad's a shithead.
And I think that Mr. Crockett is the perfect mix of Mr. Rogers.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
And Pennywise.
Don't you want a balloon?
Especially when he delivers lines like this.
Oh, beautiful bubbles. You like bubbles, Bill?
It's the perfect mix. To me, if you put these two in a blender, you popped it out, you'd have Mr. Crockett. So love that mix of people.
And there is this great animation sequence that I feel like makes this even like more, like you said, you have Mr. Rogers and Pennywise, and like it makes it even more like
fantastical.
Yeah.
Like more of a fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. When you have this animation sequence, and it's really great, like to show what's going on, for them to put that in there.
I would love to see this continued, even if it was continued as a animated 8-episode run.
I mean,
Hulu.
we don't have a lot of like horror type cartoon, you
Yes,
know.
animation, slated
So
shows.
there's not a lot. Like that'd be great. Like to start something like
I'd
that.
watch it.
I would watch it too.
If we can get Mr. Crockett back, I'm watching anything.
Yeah.
I loved this movie. I hope we can continue it in some form or fashion. But for now, let's continue our list and get on to number 4. Now, coming in at number 4, a movie we've talked about in depth as well. We also did a guest spot on Brain Mucus with Dice Roland talking about this movie, and it is Come Play. A gruesome monster named Larry manifests itself through smartphones and mobile devices while trying to take Oliver, a lonely boy with nonverbal autism who's just desperate for a friend. This is a movie that hit both of us pretty close to home.
It does. Definitely hits right in the feels. And I feel like we do talk about this movie a lot, but it's just how they portray autism in this movie. I felt like
very honest.
They did an honest job, and it definitely, like you said, it definitely hits close to home.
Right.
And for anybody that has a nonverbal or even just autism in general,
Right. They don't portray it the best in movies sometimes.
no, they make them look like they are.
It's way over the top.
Yeah.
Oliver is not like that.
There's huge spectrum out there, bigger than any of us could even imagine, and not all of them are,
Right.
nonverbal. Some of them, can talk. So autism is very, very huge in our family. So we love this movie because of how they portrayed it. So you have this part where the table gets pushed up against the bully.
They tried to have
a sleepover again.
to try to mend fences.
Yeah, and so when the table's pushed up against the bully, it's like they think Oliver did it, and so now.
You think Oliver pushed that whole table up against that boy?
So all the boys go home, and Mom is just at her wit's end.
Why can't you be normal?
Yeah.
It's like, oh. And Mom obviously doesn't believe in Larry, but you get the scene where Mom and Oliver are hiding under the bed, and Larry's walking over the bed, and you're just like, ooh, damn, Mom.
Yeah.
You just effed up something fierce.
And then you get this point where you can't really, you see Larry through a screen for most of the movie, and Dad, who also just thinks it's part of his imagination.
He's the fun dad. He doesn't do anything disciplined.
Yeah. Which, so anyways, he has the iPad, and he's looking, and he sees that Oliver got grabbed by Larry.
Yeah. At first you see Oliver coming up in the background.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, Larry's there, and he turns around and he sees him.
Mm-hmm.
So now he knows something's going on. And one of my favorite scenes, Oliver has a distance reader, like an electronic distance reader, and he can see that something's getting closer and closer to him. And he has a sticky hand toy, and he's swinging it, and he swings it, and it stops.
Yeah.
So you know that he finally hit Larry. Larry's right in front of him. And he tries to pull it back, and Larry takes it. I'm not going to say what happens after that, but I love the direction this movie goes. And then this is another movie where the ending is super emotional.
Oh, it's absolutely emotional. I cry every time I watch it. But it's a fantastic made movie. It's got a lot of emotion throughout the movie, to be honest. So it's definitely worth a watch.
So make sure you guys are checking that out. But for now, let's check out our number 3.
Coming in at number 3 is a movie that Ken and I really had zero expectation for. Didn't even really know what it was about. Never seen any trailers for it.
Went in completely blind.
Completely blind, and to our surprise, we both loved it. It was actually my favorite of 2023. So an 8-year-old boy tries to investigate the mysterious knocking sounds that are coming from inside the wall of his house, unveiling a dark secret that his sinister parents have kept hidden from him.
Yes, this is Cobweb.
This is Cobweb.
We are excited to talk about this movie, but at the same time, it's a movie that you can't discuss too deeply.
No, especially the third act. You cannot. We can't talk about the third act just because.
Which starts with the breaking of the grandfather clock.
Yes.
Don't look behind the clock. Don't move the clock.
No.
Uh-oh. The clock's been moved.
Yeah.
Shit's gonna go down.
Shit's about to happen. There's one point in the movie where the boy, he finds a skull in the garden. And This movie reminds me of People Under the Stairs, and I think that's why I love it so much, because if you know me, People Under the Stairs is my favorite horror movie, and just the way the parents act, you're trying to figure out, like...
What's going on in the walls.
What's actually happening, like, are these parents bad people? Like, there's a lot going on that you have a lot of questions about, and just the parents in general, the way they act remind me of Mommy and Daddy.
Well, and you also have one of the best jump scares of 2023 in this movie. I'm telling you, when that scene played out,
we were
just like, holy
yes,
shit.
I think we both jumped up and was like, holy shit.
Because again, we didn't watch a trailer.
We knew
nothing.
I literally thought this movie was about spiders.
Yep.
It's called Cobweb.
That was Long Legs of 2023.
Yes, it really was.
Every year we think there's a movie about spiders that just is not about spiders
at all.
It's not about
spiders. Well, anyways.
Yeah.
And then there's this point where he sees a eyeball in the wall, and that's also a very scary scene.
We are now seeing that it's not in his imagination.
Because Mom and Dad are trying. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it because you have to go into the unspoilery.
Don't know anything about this movie before you go in. And I will say, this movie has the best substitute teacher of all time.
She's awesome. And I wish that more teachers cared about their
substitute
students.
Or permanent.
Yeah, like this one did.
Yes.
There's some out there. There really are great people out there, great teachers out there. But yes, she's very awesome.
If they were all like this, all our kids would be taken care of the right way.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're checking out Cobweb. Like I said, that's number 3. Now, for an even more shocking film that took us by surprise, let's get into number 2. All right, guys, coming in at number 2, we were doing our top 10 favorite horror movies of the year. We watched this movie the day before we did that countdown and had to rearrange our whole list. That's The Harbinger. Guys, I cannot recommend this movie enough. Monique ventures out of quarantine to visit an old friend who's plagued by nightmares. She finds herself drawn into the hellish dreamscape where she must face her greatest fear or risk never existing at all.
Which is such a scary fucking concept. Like, okay, you die, but then you still have your family to mourn over you. Being erased.
Just completely erased.
Never, no one remembers you, doesn't remember anything that you did. That is scarier than just dying. That is so much scarier. So this concept is very unique and it's very the entire time. Again, I feel like a lot of these movies are like you feel dread and
not
loneliness.
A lot of jump scares.
No, but it's just those feelings that you get. And you have Monique when she sees the Harbinger. They come face to face.
He looks like a plague doctor.
Yes, he looks like a plague doctor. And
I got goosebumps right now just thinking about this scene and how powerful the scene is.
It really is. It's a very powerful scene.
But you do get real, almost jump scares, like with the kid sticking the needle in Monique's head.
Oh, yes, stuff like that.
But is it real? Or is it in Monique's head?
Which you get a lot of is it real, is it not?
In a good way.
Yeah, it's not over the top and it's not like...
It's not played for lazy writing.
I feel like this is the type of movie that you need, that things like that. Like, is this real? Is it not real? Like, it's all
but it's not
psychological.
Over the top. Yeah.
And then you have this part where...
You have no family. You were never born. Just like you always wanted.
Again.
Scary. Just like you always wanted.
And, it's moments like that where you're just like, what? How would I even understand what's about to happen, if it's going to happen, or if this is still, how do I escape it? Mm-hmm. How do I stop it? Some people don't think that it can be stopped, like Mavis.
You said it's almost time. You said soon I'll be gone. But not just gone. Forgotten, too.
When she first said that, when we watched it for the first time, my skin started to crawl. Because like Ashley said, to me, that's way worse than dying.
Yeah.
And
it really plays on like depression and
the whole movie's a big thing about depression. And yeah, they use quarantine in it, they use COVID in it, but it's not pandering.
Right.
The way they did it is so well done. And like I said, this is as scary to me as being stuck in the sunken place from Get Out. You know, like, I'm erased. I don't think I'm going to ever win a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't think there's ever going to be a statue erected in my honor. But I know that I've helped people.
Yeah.
And I know that there are certain people out there whose lives are better because I was in it.
And just your own family in general. You know, my kids not remembering who I was.
But when our kids exist, you know?
Yeah, just,
like
it's just a scary concept, and I feel like it's very unique. And like Ken said, they did use the pandemic, but it wasn't
cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap.
We've seen movies where they used the pandemic very cheaply.
Yeah, so this one wasn't one of those.
Right. And they used it for a reason. And I will say, you guys saw it in our darkest horror endings. The ending of this movie is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Completely brilliant how they ended this movie. So please make sure you're checking it out. But for now, let's get into our number one.
Number one. All right, guys, and coming in at number one.
I don't think this is going to surprise anybody.
No.
This is the only movie I believe we both gave a 5-star review to.
Yeah, I do believe that. And it's Summer of '84. This is another one that we talk about all the time,
yes.
And we really want people to watch it. After suspecting that their police officer neighbor is a serial killer, a group of teenage friends spend their entire summer spying on him and gathering evidence. But as they get closer to discovering the truth, things get dangerous. They do.
Fucking love this movie.
There's
you guys.
so much good about this movie. Just watching it, like it feels like you're a kid again. Like
yes.
The nostalgia comes back, and
but the fear is there because we've all, not to this extent, obviously, but we've all been on this type of adventure where you get caught by an adult and you have that fear.
Yeah.
I'm 39 saying this like I'm 12, but
but watching it though brings that back, that
right.
fear of getting caught by an adult.
And one of the saddest lines from any horror movie is in this movie.
I can't die tonight, man. My mom needs me.
Woody, baby, we love you, buddy.
We love you, Woody, bud. You're a good boy.
Yep. While it has one of the saddest lines,
yes.
It has one of your scariest moments.
So this was on my top 10 scariest moments, and like we talked about getting caught. So Mackie is watching Davy, like
as he's looking in the binoculars.
Looking in the binoculars, and then Mackie sees him, and now if he didn't know that they were already spying on him, he definitely knows now. And it's terrifying to me. Like, you just got caught, Davy. Like, you're screwed, dude. He's a police officer.
And how well do you know your neighbors? You know what I mean?
I don't know anything about my neighbors, really.
Like, but that's the thing. Like, this guy's lived next door to them forever. He's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, he is.
You know, Mackie is a stand-up guy that does a lot of great things, not only in the community, but for these families.
Right.
So that's one thing where you're just like, ugh, like that's a hard thing to digest. Another thing that I love, just because, you know, they don't do this so much anymore, but when Davey brings up the milk carton.
Yes.
And he's like, I saw this kid. And it's like, I remember seeing those faces on milk cartons when I was young.
Yeah, which I felt like was terrifying when you were a kid. Like, that's scary. Like, this kid's missing in, you know, close proximities to where I live. That's scary to me. And like I also talked about the nostalgia, the boys, them riding through town on their bikes, going to the bowling alley, like all of it just brings back so many great memories of me being a kid before
the
technology.
Things that we used to do.
Yeah, before technology took over.
Right.
Like, if your parents were looking for you, they would just go looking in the yards and seeing all the bikes there. Oh, that's where they are. That's whose house they're at. And
you better be home before the street lights come on.
Yeah, and nowadays your kids can't do that. It's not like it used to be, unfortunately. Or maybe it is, but it's just
we're just
more
too
scarier.
overprotective.
And you know, things you see more on the news, like stuff comes to light a lot more now.
Right.
So
yeah, number one, Summer of '84. So let us know, guys, which movies on our list have you seen? Which ones have you not seen, but you're gonna check out now that we've told you to?
Yes.
Are there any movies that you feel are underappreciated that people should be going out to see?
Or you think that we should see? Maybe we haven't seen them. Give us some movies. We always like when people give us suggestions for movies.
I would love to put it on the list.
Absolutely.
So please let us know what you think down in the comments, guys. Because if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. and follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.